cares of motherhood. Yesterday who should drop down upon our peaceful village but Mr. Gordon Hallock, on his way back to Washington to resume the cares of the nation. At least he said it was on his way, but I noticed from the map in the primary room that it was 100 miles out of his way. And dear, but I was glad to see him. He is the first glimpse of the outside world I have had since I was incarcerated in this asylum. And such a lot of entertaining businesses he had to talk about. He knows the inside of all the outside things you read in the newspapers. So far as I can make out, he is the social center about which Washington revolves. I always knew he would get on in politics, for he has a way with him, there's no doubt about it. You can't imagine how exhilarated and set up I feel, as though I'd come into my own again after a period of social ostracism. I must confess that I get lonely for someone who talks my kind of nonsensical talk. Betsy trots off home every weekend, and the doctor is conversational enough, but oh, so horribly logical. Gordon somehow seems to stand for the life I belong to, of country clubs and motors and dancing and sport and politeness. A poor, foolish, silly life, if you will, but mine own. And I have missed it. This serving society business is theoretically admirable and compelling and interesting, but deadly stupid in its working details. I am afraid I was never born to set the crooked straight. I tried to show Gordon about and make him take an interest in the babies, but he wouldn't glance at them. He thinks I came just to spite him, which of course I did. Your siren call would never have lured me from my path of frivolity had Gordon not been so unpleasantly hilarious at the idea of my being able to manage an orphan asylum. I came here to show him that I could, and now, when I can show him, the beast refuses to look. I invited him to dinner, with a warning about the pressed veal, but he said no thanks, that I needed a change. So we went to Brantwood Inn and had broiled lobster. I had positively forgotten that the creatures were edible. This morning at 7 o'clock I was wakened by the furious ringing of the telephone bell. It was Gordon at the station, about to resume his journey to Washington. He was in quite a contrite mood about the asylum, and apologized largely for refusing to look at my children. It was not that he didn't like orphans, he said. It was just that he didn't like them in juxtaposition to me. And to prove his good intentions, he would send them a bag of peanuts. I feel as fresh and revivified after my little fling as though I'd had a real vacation. There's no doubt about it. An hour or so of exciting talk is more of a tonic to me than a pint of iron and strychnine pills. You owe me 2 letters, dear madame. Pay them tout de suite, or I lay down my pen forever. Yours as usual, S. McB. Tuesday, 5 p.m. My dear enemy, I am told that during my absence this afternoon you paid us a call and dug up a scandal. You claim that the children under Miss Snaith are not receiving their due in the matter of cod liver oil. I am sorry if your medicinal orders have not been carried out, but you must know that it is a difficult matter to introduce that abominably smelling stuff into the inside of a squirming child. And poor Mrs. Snaith is a very much overworked person. She has 10 more children to care for than should rightly fall into the lot of any single woman, and until we find her another assistant, she has very little time for the fancy touches you demand. Also, my dear enemy, she is very susceptible to abuse. When you feel in a fighting mood, I wish you would expend your belligerence upon me. I don't mind it, quite the contrary. But that poor lady has retired to her room in a state of hysterics, leaving 9 babies to be tucked into bed by whomever it may concern. If you have any powders that would be settling to her nerves, please send them back by Sadie Kate. Yours truly, S. McBride. Wednesday morning. Dear Dr. MacRae, I am not taking an unintelligent stand in the least. I am simply asking that you come to me with all complaints, and not stir up my staff in any such volcanic fashion as that of yesterday. I endeavor to carry out all of your orders, of a medical nature, with scrupulous care. In the present case there seems to have been some negligence. I don't know what did become of those 14 unadministered bottles of cod liver oil that you have made such a fuss about, but I shall investigate. and I cannot, for various reasons, pack off Miss Snaith in the summary fashion you demand. She may be in certain respects inefficient, but she is kind to the children, and with supervision will answer temporarily. Yours truly, S. McBride. End of Part 4. Recorded by Gesine in October 2007.